Okay, so you want to know about PC parts? Well, I've split this video into 7 main sections, starting with the CPU. So the CPU, otherwise known as the central processing unit, is the brain of your computer. Now you may have searched this online and wondered what the grip of Ryzen 5 or Intel Core i7 is. Like, bro, what's going on with all these numbers? 11900K, 7800X.
Are you serious right now, bro? Like, are you serious right now?
Okay, so from my hours of research, what I've managed to understand is Intel is a rip-off. You should never get it. No, but for real, I'm joking. CPUs use these things called cores. They're like little workers, each doing their own work, and it allows your computer to multitask. But what really makes it fast is the core speed, which, as you guessed it, is how fast these little workers are work. This is measured in gigahertz. Now guess what? You can make these workers work even harder than Chinese children in a factory. This is called overclocking. But these poor workers get hot, which is why you may see people using big fans, liquid cooling, or flicking liquid nitrogen just to make these workers work harder. Now for the naming, very simple. There's a 3 in the name, for example i3 or Ryzen 3. This just means entry level. There's a 5 in the name, like i5 or Ryzen 5, it means mid-range. A 7 indicates high end, and 9 is enthusiast or best of the best. Now for the numbers after it, like the 5600 of Ryzen 5 5600 or the i5 6700K. This just indicates the generation. Intel like to follow a simple path of incrementing it by 1 each year. For example, the 9700K is 9th gen, the 10700K is 10th gen, and the 14700K is 14th gen. However, AMD seem to not like even numbers at all. But you'll see their CPUs go from 5th generation to 7th generation to 9th generation. But there you go, CPU. Now the GPU. GPU stands for graphical processing unit, and its main task is just to do math. While the CPU has to manage the entire computer, the GPU's only task is just to do math. They do this using these things known as CUDA cores on NVIDIA and stream processors on AMD. Now in other words, this just means they got a whole bunch of slaves in there doing math all day, and let me tell you, them brothers are fast. Like these guys are completing math equations and problems more than 1 billion times in 1 second. However, they got one weakness. They still need to show they're working out. But how? They use something called VRAM, which is like a big notebook that they all share, and the more of this they have, the more complex equations they can solve. Now let's move to the main companies, which is AMD and NVIDIA. There's also Intel, but ain't nobody care about that, man. Now they did do better with their naming. Like for NVIDIA, the first number, for example, RTX 4090 or 3070 is the series. Like the 30 is the 30 series and the 40 is the 40 series. And the second number, like the 90 and 3090 or 5090, tells you how powerful the card is. And same with AMD. Until they decided to come out with the flicking 9070. They were doing so well. Like, genuinely, was the marketing guy drunk, or did they genuinely name it thinking that somebody would think it's faster than the RTX 5090? AMD is probably gaslighting us at this point now. So basically, NVIDIA is the king of performance and ray tracing. AMD, solid performance and best price to performance. And Intel, they make GPUs for now, but they're kind of trash, bro. Now we got an easy one. RAM. RAM is where your computer stores quick access info for apps you have open, like Chrome or games, or 42 tabs of how to mute with maximum risk. And why did I say that, bro? That's so cringe, man. There are 2 main types of RAM, DDR4 and DDR5, with the main difference between the two being speed. Speeds on DDR4 is usually between 2133 MHz to 3600 MHz, while speed on DDR5 RAM is around 4800 MHz to 7000 MHz. RAM, usually used in sizes of 16 GB to 32 GB, is installed in dual channel. This would mean you have 2 8 GB sticks or 2 16 GB sticks. However, if you're rich, then you can go from around 64 GB to 256. Now, a very important fact is that DDR4 and DDR5 cannot be used on the same motherboard. Newer boards support DDR5 while older motherboards support DDR4. Now I don't know why Diddy's getting mentioned in this so much, man. Maybe they just like, maybe they're thinking of Diddy when they named RAM. Now we move to motherboards. They connect the entire computer together. The CPU, GPU, RAM, your live storage, and allow your computer to connect to your peripherals like your keyboard and mouse and internet. However, their naming is absolutely trash. But if I can understand it, so can you. Motherboards are mainly of 2 types, AMD and Intel. AMD motherboards support, as you guessed it, AMD processors. And these are of 3 types. A-series boards, like the A620, are the basic boards. They have less ports and they offer basic features. Then there's the B-series boards, like the B650, which are the balance between performance and features. And if you're thinking of overclocking on AMD, this is where you'd start. Then there's the best of the best, the X-series boards, like the X670. These have more USB slots and allow your computer to connect to 2 flicking GPUs in one go. The generations are really easy to understand. Like the first number, like the 6 in X670, just tells you that it's 6th generation. These motherboards support the AM5 CPU sockets, which are Ryzen 7000 and Ryzen 9000. Now we move to Intel. They use 4 different categories. The H series, like the H610, are the entry-level motherboards. They don't support overclocking and have just the simple basic features. Then there's the B series. These boards are the balance between budget and mid-range. But here's where it gets a bit more trash. The H series again. Yes, they decided to name two motherboard series the same. I don't know why, maybe they just wanted you to get a bit more confused. Like you could have named it the G series or the O series, but no, they decided to name it the H series. Whatever, man. Then you got the best of the best boards, which are the G series, and they support overclocking and multiple GPUs. There are 4 different sizes of motherboard. E80X, these are the massive motherboards and usually have multiple GPU slots. They also have loads of space for RAM, and some motherboards you'll see has 8 spaces to hold RAM. That's just crazy. Then you got ATX boards. These usually have 2 PCIe slots and have the normal basic features. Then there's M-ATX. M-ATX are a bit smaller, but they still have most of the basic features you need. Then there's the smallest of the smallest, the most compact ITX boards. ITX boards are so small, they only have space for 1 GPU, and you'll see them in tiny builds like this. But there you go, motherboard. Oh yeah, and here's a quick little overview of all the options. Storage, gang. Storage is where your computer keeps everything, bro. Your files, games, and operating system. Storage are of 2 types: hard drives and solid state drives. Hard drives are the slow and cheap option. They use magnetic disks to read and write data, and overall are okay for storing large files like your forehead or a project. Now these do have moving parts, so if you drop them, you'll flick. Now we move to the good stuff. SSDs or solid state drives. Solid states have no moving part, and they use something called flash memory. Now typically you see these being used for storing operating systems or games. This is because solid state drives are fast. While Windows on a hard drive would take 50 seconds to load, on a solid state drive it would only take around 17 seconds. Now there are 3 types of solid state drives. SATA SSDs, which are the 2.5 inch squares and connect to your computer externally. NVMe's, which use the M.2 slot in your computer and are smaller and generally faster. Right now we are on Gen 4. And PCIe add-in cards, which are a bit above the scope of this video, but basically they are the fastest and connect to the same PCIe slot that your GPU connects to, and is used for servers and all that good stuff. So basically, because I can't be just reading out, the power supply unit, known as the PSU, the power supply is responsible for distributing power to all the parts of your computer, from the CPU, GPU to your storage and fans. Now power supplies come in different efficiency ratings. You got platinum, which is the highest efficiency and highest quality. Gold, slightly less efficient than platinum, but still excellent. Then you got bronze, they're decent quality, but they are still prone to like I had 2 brown power supplies and they both blew up. So yeah, and white or no rating. You only get these if you want to destroy your computer. All that money gone. Another factor is wattage. Wattage is the total amount of power your PSU can supply. For high-end builds like a 4080 or Ryzen 9 7900X, 1000 watt will be enough. However, if you're using an average build like a 7900X or a 6700 XT, then 650 watts to 750 watts is more than enough. In short, don't get a cheap power supply. Now we move to the final, most simplest of them all, PC cases. Now, PC cases, if you didn't know, do not come out the box looking like this. They also come out looking like this, and you put all the parts in yourself, which is called building a PC. Now, there are 4 main sizes of PC cases. E80X, the ginormous cases. ATX, the normal size cases. M-ATX, a bit smaller. And ITX, which are those crazy tiny cases, and you put ITX motherboards in. But what you really want to worry about when it comes to cases are the fans. You got RGB, ARGB and FRGB fans. FRGB are fixed and they light up but do not allow you to change the color at all. RGB light up colors, however you can't control individual LEDs. These can change colors but only on a fixed pattern. And ARGB allow you to fully customize the color of each fan and also allow you to do cool patterns like this. When you see RPM, it just means how fast the fan is spinning, with higher end fans allowing you to control the RPM and lower end fans coming out the box with predetermined speeds. You can get a hub to connect your fans together or connect it on a motherboard separately. Fans look like this, with this side pushing out air and this side sucking it in. And typically on your computer, you want the fan to be sucking air from here and taking air out from here. The triangle of goodness. And just like that, you know what there is to know about computer parts. Hopefully you enjoyed it. In a bit, gang.